I'm going to talk on the fort wall defense structure at Kanmer today. Actually, I just chose this because what I've been realizing all these years that when the regional features of the Harappans were explained properly, it was clearly told that the Harappans did not have monotony in their architecture, but there was a lot of regional diversity, not only in the pottery, not only in the other minor objects, but also on the architectural part. So what actually you see, if you go to Punjab, if you come to Gujarat or go to other parts of the Harappan domain, you do have variety, lot of variation in architecture also. When we started working at Kanwer, we were thinking that the defense wall at Kanwer might have been raised the way it was done at Dhalavira, because Bishji, Rawatji and others, Bishji's team, they cut through the wall and they discovered how the wall was raised. We were thinking it might have been done the same way, but that was not the case. And if you look sites like Sikarpur, which is completely made on bricks, and then if you look at the rampart of Surkotada, all these sites have a lot of variation in the defense wall, at these sites. So I thought, why not to share the site of Kanmer, whatever we could expose so far, and whatever we understood so far. It is better to share this. So maybe there are some exciting ideas. They might also help us to understand the develop better understanding of the wall here. Okay, so this slide shows the location of Kanmer in Kutch, and there are very important sites around Kanmer. Like I think in the earlier presentation, Dr. Hasmukh might have already explained. Surkotada is very close. Then Surkotada is to the north northeast. Then Sikarpur to the south southwest, and many Harappan sites are located in the eastern Kutch actually, and Pabumar, Dhalavira, others. And also now there are sites in the important sites have also been discovered, excavated in the western Kutch, like Junikuran, etc. Desalpar is already known. Pabumar is also in the eastern part, and interesting part is that most of the sites in Kutch, compared to the mainland Saurashtra, have very strong fortification. In most of the sites, you do find use of stones rather than bricks. Of course, mud bricks have been used, but then less. Stones have been used, and to a large extent. This is the site of Kanmer, located in Rapad Taluka, something about 50 kilometers southeast of Rapad. The site was discovered in 85-86 by R.S. Bist and his team, including Rawatji. Y.S. Rawat was part of our excavation team also, and this site is visible from a long distance. Here is the site, which is almost squarish, you can see, and there is a metal road leading to the village called Kanmer. This site is located just to the west of the village. There is a hillock on the slope was is located the modern Kanmer village. Actually, the village also is located on the medieval settlement. On top of the hillock are also there are remains of a fort, medieval fort, and this site has a very strong cultural sequence right from the Hadappans to the medieval part. The site was, occupied initially by the Hadappans, then by the historic people, and then finally by the medieval people. The medieval settlement was also quite spread in a quite large area. And prior to the classical Hadappans, actually, there were also some local people, some local potteries also visible at the site that I will show you maybe in the coming slides. There is that is identified by the pre-fortification deposit with kind of bichrome material and some, plain redware also. Well, if you compare this with sites like Dhalavira, Kanmer is a very small settlement. I would call it a small village other than a township. Maybe you may not agree to me, but then This small settlement is protected by a very strong wall, very strong defense wall. What, why, we do not know. If you look at the main mound, this site is hardly, measures 116 by 113 meter, and the height from the ground level goes up to about 10 meter or little more, or in some areas little less. The central part of the site is, shallow, and the peripheral area, it is squarish, and peripheral areas are higher. Well, this is the digital elevation model contour map prepared by Professor Takao. No, you can see the central contour of the site. It moves, it opens towards south. Actually, we thought that this could be the, also opening of the site. Actually, turned out correct. The lowest contour belongs to the Harappans, and the upper contour belongs to the historic and medieval part. Well, this is DEM model of the site. We can see the central part of the site is shallow, and on the periphery it is higher. The higher part clearly indicates that there is some, maybe it is because of some strong structure. The peripheral area is higher. So it turned out to be correct. This is just to show you the cultural sequence we had at the site. We have pre-fortification deposit at the site. Then the urban phase, classical Harappan material has been divided into two parts: Kanmer 2A and 2B. Actually, 2A was, the 2B was, dominated by the featureless bowls, which you have, from Rangpur, which is known from Rangpur A, B, and C. And Kanmer A does not have those deep bowls, featureless bowls. You do have dishes and other things, but you don't have those. Also, towards the end of Kanmer 2B, foreign material starts appearing at the site, and also the nature of deposit is also different. Therefore, and also you do have in Kanmer 2B, you do have lot of Surat material at Kanmer. In Kanmer 2A, you don't have that Surat material at Kanmer. Kanmer 3B, it represents the late urban or actually declined phase of the urban people at Kanmer. They are not able to maintain the wall. The pottery is declined. The quality of the pottery is almost gone. You don't have seal impressions, iconic seals, or seal impressions, and a lot of non Harappan material appears at Kanmer. This is what we have identified as late urban, or actually decline phase at Kanmer. And then period 4, cultural stage 4, that was represented by the historic people, in which we discovered a lot of torpedo material, also a lot of redware, which is painted, which looks more like, recollects like Rang Mahal type material. Of course, it is not Rang Mahal, but then they also we do have laid Brahmi, seal impressions. And then the last cultural phase was represented by medieval material, and that medieval material is, available in a small area in the central part, and little bit on the peripheral area, and also on top of the fort wall, and that is there in the village too. So this is the cultural sequence at the site. This is the northeastern corner of the site. You can see, you have a fort wall, then you do have also something outside. This outside is an addition to the fort wall, and the inner line is actually the outer face of the fort wall here. This is the northern arm of the fort wall. And once we try to look, why this and how deep it is, so we found that this addition, outside addition, has also been raised on the same surface, same level where the inner, actually the fort wall has been raised. So this is, and you can see it is, the fort wall is quite strong, and at the base it might be about 20 meter, but in the middle level it was found about 18 meter, 18.5 meter wide. So This is the middle level of the wall. In earlier slide, we were in the northeastern corner. This is again the same corner, same northeastern corner, but you can see, some people are standing on the outer face of the wall, and one person is standing on the inner face of the wall. Now you can realize the width of the wall is, through GPS, we we clearly found out that this is 18.5-meter wide in the middle level. Obviously, since it is tapering on either side, it will be slightly more at the base. It might be around 19-meter or so at the base. Uh, we were thinking it may be a simple wall with the basins on the corner, but that was not the case. And there are large number of retaining walls, additions, and alignments visible in the core of the wall. Also, there were mud bricks in the wall, in the core part of the wall. Some of these we are going to see in the coming slides. You can see these, number of retaining walls in the core part of the wall, maybe to hold the soil, maybe to hold the material. This, if you can see my cursor, this is the inner face of the wall which has survived in the northeastern corner. And this is actually repairing of the wall. In the original wall, you do have large stones, what you saw in the third slide, where large, of course, semi-dressed stones have been used. They keep using such stones even towards till the last phase, towards the end. But then here, this is all, this particular face appears to be a repaired one. Small stones have been used on the inner arm, inner face of the wall. Well, you can see this in the slide where the scale and this putty has been kept. Actually, this is the east corner of the eastern arm, end of the eastern arm of the inner face of the wall. But here, on a little away, you can see, if you can see my cursor, this is a retaining wall within the core in the northeastern corner of the wall. We tried to expose the foundation of the wall. We could not reach. We exposed this wall up to a length of 3 meter. Actually, this is a retaining wall. Actually, and it is located right in the core part of the wall in the corner. There are similar more additions near to that, this foundation. In the coming picture, we'll see. This was core part of the wall where they have used mud bricks. Actually, we were able to identify a couple of them in a line. And this material, which looks brownish, is actually called lilua in the local language, and it is available locally. It is a weathered material of the sandstone, ferruginous sandstone of this area, and which has been brought, and the mud bricks were also made out of it, and they were used in the core part of the wall. In this particular slide, if you could see my cursor, this only 4 or 5 courses on top. This is the surviving top of the fort wall in the northern arm, which represents the last construction phase of the fort wall in the northern part. It is interesting that this, please remember this wall. It has been shifted 10 meter north. This inner arm, inner face of the wall towards the end, during the Harappan settlement, people shifted the inner face of the northern arm 10 meter north without shifting the outer arm. So we were thinking that the outer arm may have also been shifted, but that was not the case. Only the inner arm was shifted, and the space available, that 10-meter space that was available after shifting this wall, was used for kind of craft activity that we was difficult to identify. But a huge, massive amount of ash was raised due to this available space, which was thrown on either side of the wall. You can see these additions now, more additions, similar additions you can see in the corner. And uh, and uh, now you can see these additions here, one after other, 3 4 additions. Actually, these are retaining walls. Why these additions were made? What was the purpose? Did they make any tower in the corner? No idea. We exposed this particular feature in the northeastern corner up to a depth of almost 3 meter, but we could not reach to the base because it was difficult to cut the core further. And why do we have this kind of pattern in the northeastern corner? We were not able to understand it fully, but of course this was also, I think, examined when Professor Ajitji and Professor Krishnan, Professor Sinde, they had arrived at the site, but we were not able to reach any conclusion what it signifies. You can see this is the this slide. Simply, these black lines, they indicate the inner and outer face of the fort wall. In between you have this kind of, these kind of additions. And this is just one example I'm showing you, but there were at number of places you do have alignment in the core. You do have some walls in the core itself, and large blocks of stones were set in, locally called lilwa, to make the core of the wall. Therefore, simply, we have not been saying it mud rampart in any case, because either side you do have very thick stone, alignment. And then in the central part, you do have number of additions also. So a different kind of technique was used to make the fort wall here. Now here, what you see, the inner face of the fort wall, this is northern arm, and close to the northern arm was found a kiln, and close to the kiln were found oxidized faience beads. So why this was done, we do not know, but this is towards the end. The Harappans, they raised the kiln very close to the northern arm itself, and the northern arm is also, due to heat, it has partially been destroyed here. And maybe it seems, looking at this kind of situation, it seems that Kanmer was a very small site that way. If you look the area available inside, it is 80 meter by 80 meter. That much space is available. Within that, towards the end, when people were raising this kind of craft activity close to the wall on the inner face, it seems that this idea of civic sense is lost. So something is happening. People are doing craft activity right on the fort wall or on the inner face of the fort wall, throwing the garbage on either side. So maybe that central, and this actually, this part belongs to the end of Kanmer, what we have said, Kanmer to B. At a time when you might say a lot of Surat Harappans were also, influence were also arriving at this site. This kind of, bulb shape, kiln which has a central column, and close to the this were found number of unoxidized and oxidized faience beads. Well, this is the eastern arm of the fort, which has an addition outside, which is visible very clearly. Now these additions, I'll show in the coming slide. These additions were made on, on the eastern arm to the southern arm, partially to the southern arm, not in the entire southern arm, and on the northern arm. We did not find any addition to the western arm. Our feeling is that perhaps, when Kanmer people raised this fort wall, there was a serious trouble in the wall, maybe earthquake. We do not know. So they supported the wall with addition from outside, and nothing like this has been found on the inner side, but it is in the tapering fashion. It is surviving in the southern area. It is surviving about 3 meter, up to a height of 3 meter, whereas on the eastern arm, it is surviving almost up to a height of 4.5 meters. Whether in the northern part, it is surviving only up to 2.5 to 3 meters. So but in the western arm, we did not find this. We do not know why. No basin has been found. Walls are joining to each other at in the corners without any basin. This is an addition you can see now. Lot of this ash has been thrown from top of these walls, which got deposited outside. So also on the inner face. Uh, this is core part of the wall in the northeast and southeastern corner, an area where Dr. Hasmukh was excavating. Actually, what we see here, there is a break in the stratigraphy. You can see, how this white line, this layer is completely broken, and this break, this kind of break in the stratigraphy uh, maybe indicating kind of problem of earthquake also. uh, of course, we did not find this kind of break in the stratigraphy on the in our trenches inside in the exposed sections. But then it seems that there was serious trouble of earthquake, as you know. You will see in one of the slides how the walls have moved from their original position. Initially we thought these people, unlike most of the Harappan site, the Kanmer has been raised, not raised on the cardinal direction. The fort wall is not on the cardinal direction. Also, we were thinking that they did not know mathematics. The outer dimension is 113 by 116 centimeter, and the inner part is 78 to 78 into 72 meter. We were thinking that they did not know the measurement, but actually, there's a lot of problem in the wall. The wall has moved from its original position. In coming slide, maybe you will see that at the base of the fort wall in the northwestern corner, what you see, huge stones, measuring the length of which was is measures about 2 meter and the width is about 15 centimeter. So is the height. Such large stones were brought from the nearby hills to raise the wall, and such large stones have been placed at the base. And then of course, in the upper part stones are smaller, but then they are semi-dressed ones. You can see here this is the same corner, but then the wall has been repaired outside. You can see this repairing here. It's a small retaining wall has been done. Perhaps there was some problem in the wall. It has been done. This is the western arm, inner face of the western arm, which we were able to expose up to the base to know the history of the wall. What we found that this wall has the except for lower 4 5 courses, the entire wall has been repaired. This entirely is repaired. It is surviving at the moment up to a height of about 4.5 meters. And what you see, or it has been kept by the historic structure, but you can see lot of ash has been thrown from top of the wall and which has got deposited on the inner face of the wall. There are a number of episodes, and similar situation has happened on the outer side. So something is happening on top of the wall towards the end, in the what we have said Kanmer 2b, towards the end of that phase, and in Kanmer 3 too. So people are throwing ash on either side, maybe doing some kind of craft activity. Something is happening. And if you look at this kind of loss of civic sense, you do have similar example from Dhalavira too, and you do have same situation in Pabumat and many other sites where when this, I think, Surat and Sindhi Hadappans are meeting, maybe there is it's not peaceful meeting, or some craft activity, strong craft activity is happening, which we have yet to identify to answer this kind of dump on either side of the wall. Well, then we going further. This is the western arm on the inner side where a lot of craft activity has maybe happening. It's all ashy. This is the inner face of the wall. KP is standing right on the wall here. This is profile of that western arm. How this is the outer face and this is the inner face of the wall. Well, I'm repeating this slide simply to show you the width at the middle level, where people standing on the inner and outer face of the wall. Our GIS and GPS recording showed that this is 18.5 meter wide in at this level. So surely at the base it is going to be wider. But if you could see my cursor here, if you could see my cursor here, I'm moving my cursor, and one person is standing here. This is the inner face. This inner face was shifted 10 meter further north towards the end, and now this has become the inner face. So this entire area available, 10-meter area, was used for some craft activity or some purpose. Maybe even residential structures are also here. This is the core of the wall itself. So now this has become the inner face of the wall. The outer face remained the same, and this was raised maybe towards the end. The width of the wall was about 7 meter or little more than that. So part of the top surviving surface of the wall is here, which was sealed on top by white materials, sail material, which is available in the locally available. Well, this is just to show you the width of the wall. The width of the wall here. Well, this is the southern arm of the wall. You can see how strong it was. This is addition, of course, the inner, outer face of the southern arm is inside. This is just addition of that. This addition is surviving up to a height of 3.5 meter. You can see how people. This is on the left side is a sondage. You can see very strong. In this is the wall, actually, outer face of the wall, and here is the addition, which is just surviving up to a height of 1.5 meter or so from the ground level. So there is a gap also in between, which was filled with soil. So at places it directly joins the outer face, but sometimes there is a gap also. Why this gap, we do not know. Maybe ultimately it must have been properly packed. And but anyway, this wall, looking at the height, thick, width, and strongness, surely must have been very, very impressive. Here what has happened, this is the southern arm, inner face of the southern arm of the wall, if you can see my cursor. And these Harappan structures are joining directly the fort wall. Generally, it doesn't happen at the Harappan sites. There are always, the structures are always raised away, little away. There is always some gap in between, but here we do not have that. Maybe there was not much space available. So in the background you can see the Kanmer village here, and on top of this hillock is a medieval fort. Right on the fort wall towards the end, where was found a hoard of steatite beads, disc type steatite beads. This belongs to the last phase. Maybe this was the core of the fort was itself 10 to 15-meter wide, so people raised houses right on the fort wall, and in one of such houses was found this kind of material. This slide shows the pre-fortification deposit on the base of western arm here. And from this pre-fortification deposit were discovered by plain redware. You do have gray ware, you do have bichrome material, and you do have also agate, blades, and some other raw material you do have from this lower level, from this base. You do have some Harappan pottery, but which I seriously suspect that has percolated down. It is hardly represented by few pieces. Then this is the plan of the fort at Kanmer, perfectly squarish. On the northern arm, the eastern arm, the southern arm all have additions, but in the southern arm, the addition was not made on the entire part. It was made only in the western, eastern part, and in central and eastern part. The western part was left out. In the western arm, we do not have any addition, whereas in the northern and eastern arm entirely the additions were made, and the entrance was given in the southern arm, which we exposed partially. And but unfortunately that was also closed during towards the end of the settlement. Why, we do not know. We'll see that these structures which you see in this slide were exposed by us in the south central part, in southeastern part, in the northeastern, and the western arm, close to the western arm. These were the structures exposed by us. You can see the measurement of the fort at Kanmer. If you see I see the outer arm is 113 by 117, 116 by 107 by 105, 9. So all different measurements. They are different because I think there is a lot of problem in the wall now. I will show you one of the slide towards the end, where you can realize how much the wall has moved from its original position. The inner surface is 74 into 72 into 73 into 78. I mean, ranging from 72 to 78 meter. So very small area is available inside. Maybe I think hardly 200 people may have been living inside. If 200 people are living inside, why then such a strong fortification? So is a question we have to answer. Outside, from this main fortified area, there was an outer enclosure also to the north and northeast of the side. uh, GPR survey revealed this. Actually, if you can see this dark red dotted line, if you can follow my cursor, this was an enclosure. We did expose it at one location in the eastern field also, and there was flimsy deposit outside this, to the east of this eastern arm here towards the end, that doesn't belong to the classical or urban phase part A or pre-defense, but it only belongs to the this deposit only belongs to the Kanmer 2B and 3, which is enclosed from the outer side. Maybe some people are living outside for some reason, we do not know. Who are they we do not know. Well, this is the entrance of the fort wall to given from the southern in the southern arm. You have, this was closed towards the end of the Harappan deposit at the site. Why did they do it? We do not know. If they closed it, then how did they enter the site? We have yet to define it, decide it, decipher it. How where people then finally were entering, because this was towards the end in Kanme 2B. This was closed. Tiramura is standing, outside the gate. Well, the wall, it seems to be something like this. They raised the wall in tapering fashion, and then there was some problem right in the beginning. They did an addition, and towards the end, in Kanme, what we said, Kanme 2B and 3, they shifted the inner arm of the northern arm, especially inner face 10 meter was shifted north, so the width of the wall was decreased, and then but the outer arm continued. They raised it further, so altogether at the moment three three major structural phases are visible in the wall, but there are many sub stages also. As I showed you, in the core part of the wall, you do have number of structures, alignments, additions, they have been made. So similar additions may have been in different places in the wall. So obviously it is not the same what we see at Dhalavira, it is not the same what we see at Kuntasi, not the same what we see at Bagasara, or not the same what we see at Sukotada. So each site seems to have different kinds of situation. To me, it seems that people at Kamir, when they arrived, they were very well planned. They knew what has to be done at the site, how the fort wall has to be raised. They did not do experiment, but they knew it how to do it. So maybe with all these different sites, the engineers were different. They might be knowing how to raise it, and but interestingly, it seems that they were meeting the problems like earthquake. Well, this is just to show you the entrance was given from south, and there are some structures, and this was the, in nutshell, this was the plan of the site. Now, this, if you can see the slide carefully, how much the wall has moved from its original location. The wall should have been straight, but it is not. It has moved so much. The northeastern corner has moved so much to, swollen outside. So has done with the has happened with the southern arm, which is completely wavy here, and the western arm has completely tilted towards the east, and the eastern arm has, actually also has moved towards the east. So there is a lot of disturbance has happened in the wall. I sincerely think that there must be a lot of trouble due to earthquake, not only in the beginning but also towards the end. Because in the beginning, maybe because of the earthquake problem, people raised the addition. Towards the end, in the core part of the wall, I just showed you one evidence. It is likely that that happened due to earthquake. So maybe it may be on certain direction, which we might come across if we if you continue the excavation work. I'll just show you some slide just to, what was available in the pre-defense phase. This is the material which we discovered from pre-defense levels at Kanmer. This is unslipped redware and some grayware from the site, kind of bichrome material which has come from the site from the lower level, more bichrome from the lower level. All this is pre-defense material. Then this I'm sure Hasmukhji has already discussed. I don't want to go into detail. Yes, this is classical material coming from Kanmer 2A, and then that is followed by Kanmer 2B. So now you have this stud handle bowl and featureless bowl with featureless rim and all that. And then towards the end, in this same phase appears black and white painted black and red ware, which is quite identical to the ahad, and also coarse gritty red pottery, which looks completely foreign to the Harappans here. This is Kanmer 2B material actually. Well, at the site was discovered large amount quantity of beads, bone, stone, terracotta, faience, paste, etc. This is carnelian. Well, in the summary, I would like to say it was a very small settlement where only hardly 200 people may have been living inside. Maybe they were very important people doing something very important, and extremely strong defense wall was raised, perhaps to show their supremacy, protect people as well as important trading material. What trading material? Maybe agate, maybe copper, maybe something else. Also, we did find crucibles from the site. So the discovery of identity cards from the site seems to be quite important. They may be signifying important trade activity. Three main structural phases of construction were identified. Unlike others, no basins were provided to the tapered wall, and the walls has several retaining walls, stone and mud bricks alignment, perhaps to strengthen the arms. Width of the arms may have been about 19 meter at the base, whereas 18.5 was already identified, measured at the middle level. Towards the end, the width was reduced to 10 meter, and finally the wall may be about 7 to 8 meter on top. So a variety of material ranging from mud bricks to mud to sandstone, ferruginous sandstone to limestone, shale, that was all used in the wall. Also, you do have brick bats. So, so these, so the wall was made quite strong using all the local material. And looking at the construction pattern or engineering of the wall, it seems to be totally different than what we have examples available around. Unfortunately, we were not able to cut through the wall to confirm many things. But then, looking at the total history of the wall, we do have pre-defense. We do have Harappan wall, which was raised up to a height of about 6.5 to 7 meter at a stretch. This seems to be quite high. If you consider the settlement, which is very small, why did they need to raise such a high wall in one stretch, then reducing the width of it and then raising the height? So, so I would like to end my discussion here.